Several months ago, I made a video explaining that I moved my deal pipeline from HubSpot to Asana. Now, I get a lot of questions about how to build a light CRM in Asana. I have a video on that, go and check it out, but I haven't yet shown you how I use my deal pipeline, how it all works behind the scenes. And so that's what I'm gonna do today. If you're new to the channel though, my name is Marquis. I'm a business process consultant, and I make videos just like this to help you improve how you and your team use Asana. So let's take a look at the use case demo for today. So I'm going to start with how the meetings actually enter into my Asana space. So I still use HubSpot as my CRM. It's connected to my website. All emails go through there. All activity is tracked in there, and all user activity and information, customer activity and information is all still tracked in HubSpot. It's a free plan. I'm on the CRM starter suite right now, and it works just great for us. We can still do some marketing there. We can still get reports and metrics in there. We still have our meeting links in there. All of our Zoom recordings go in there. So it's still a pivotal part of the business. The actual deal side of it, the sales side of it, all the task tracking, we just found we were most efficient doing all that inside of Asana. So I'm gonna just run a test here. A link would be shared. Maybe you're watching this and your team is ready to take your Asana to the next level. You wanna meet with me, you can just visit meetwithmarquis.com, or you can copy this link right there and it'll bring you to this page. We're also in the middle of a rebrand at this point in time, so that's what you're seeing here. But I'm just gonna click on a time. Let's go to next month so I don't move any availability. It's a 30-minute call. We're gonna book it. And my name is Mark Zuck, and my email is, I guess I have to give an actual email, don't I? Let's just do this one. Let's do an actual real email at, let's go facebook.com. And I'm just gonna put in my phone number, and my company is obviously Facebook. I am the CMO. Let's say, how many employees do I have within my team? We've got 25 to 50 people, and we're looking for, a few different services. So we need Asana training, we need workflow optimization, we need our standard operating procedures documented, and we need something custom as well that we want to talk to you more about. So would love to learn about your services and discuss how our team can better utilize our Asana. Those are the typical messages. So we're going to confirm that, and I'm going to switch over to Asana to show you what the next stage is. So the booking is being confirmed, it's being routed, and actually in the rebrand, I'm going to have to update this as well. This reroutes you to a page where you can watch a video of me explaining what the Connect call will then look like, how you can prepare, what things you can do. You can go visit the blog, you can see more about our services there as well. But in this time, since I've been chatting away, we can see that the lead has now been updated inside of Asana. So we use a automation tool called N8N, and we built in an automation that takes all of the fields, the information from that meeting booking link, and pulls it right into Asana for us. So you can see that right here, this task was submitted through HubSpot via the CAS, the Surface Automation System. This is something we created custom, has all the information that was brought over as well. And as you can see, it has everything else that we need in here. And I just realized we have a bug in the system. So when I selected the services that I wanted, what should have happened is we should have had those service types be selected here. So I should have, seen process optimization get selected here. I think we had Asana training. I think we had SOPs as well. And then what was the last one? Custom and technical discovery as well. So those should have been pulled in. Gonna have to tweak that a little bit. And then those would all be right here as well, so I could see them be populated. So that's kind of the first stage of all of this. And then as you can see, we have various stages. So my stages are, we've got the Connect call booked. So they booked a time, right, for the call. We have now the link back to the record in HubSpot for the contact. We have the link back to the record in HubSpot for Facebook. So let's actually go and let's see what this pulled in here. So here we are, we have Mark Zuck, CMO. There's the email, there's the company there. Oh, what it didn't do is pulled in the company. So let's actually go and see where that went. It didn't create the company for some reason, but we'll get back to that. in any case, here we are. So posting all that information, and now we're gonna work the different stages. So right now I've got a subtask that's created for me. Typically this would be on the day of the connect call. And if I go within this, it's got all the questions that I'm gonna ask. So the overview of what we're talking about, any notes and questions that I have. I'm trying to identify the goals that you want to achieve on that call as well. I want to know the number of employees. So that would be, how many people do you actually have on your team that will be using Asana? Who's the decision maker? What are the roles and the titles of the people? What's your budget? And then I'm typically documenting the next steps. So after the connect call, then I could say, all right, my next steps are to send off a deck or to provide more information. If they're not ready to move forward with the sales process, that's where I'm documenting all of my next steps right there. So then once we're all done that, I'm gonna move this to the next stage. We've done our connect call, we've gotten all of our information, and we are going to move on here. And so we then move through the different stages. So I'm gonna update the deal stage to connect call completed, and then it's gonna create another couple of subtasks for me. As you can see, there are quite a few. And so the first one here is send a thank you email to the prospect from Facebook, update the lifecycle stage for Facebook, create Google Drive. I've got some help to do that, and then move the connect call recording to Google Drive as well. Okay, so something that I have to do today is update the lifecycle stage. So the way that this works is if the lead is qualified to buy, set the lifecycle stage to opportunity. If they're disqualified, set the deal stage to disqualified, and then set the disqualified reason. And so I'm going to come back up here now, and now I can set the lifecycle stage to opportunity. Mark Zuck is qualified to buy, ready to go, and we're going to set this to opportunity. Okay, and then I'm going to complete that right there. So what that did is there's a rule behind the scenes that once I set it to qualified to buy and he's an opportunity, then I submit a project estimate form. So I work with someone on my team who's our senior project manager, and we kind of put our heads together to figure out what's the best way to go about this. I've received the information, then I share the call recordings, the notes, the hopeful outcomes with my senior project manager. We go over everything together, and then it's his job to go and quote the actual project to put the estimates. So I'll show you what that looks like on the back end, but I've got this form where I submit all that information. And so I'll show you that here. So I have the prospect's name, the estimate type, whether it's new business or existing business, references. So these are call recordings or Loom links, any additional files, sheets, PDFs, and then the due date when I need this back by. And so complete there, and now I have the estimate. It's been provided, and we just keep on going. So we go through. Sometimes they want a product demo, or I have to book an explore call where I want to find out more information about your workflows. So if we didn't have enough time, or it was a bit too complex, we needed some more time to think and ask questions, we book a second call. So we would do that together on our call, right? And then I'm showing up to that explore call. You're ready to share screen, show us how you work, and then I'm ready to ask more questions to gain a better understanding so I can put together a scope, right? And so what I've done for that is I've always struggled with this concept in Asana that there's no buttons, right? You can't really push a button and have it do something. And so what I've done is I've created another custom field called sales calls. And so by default, when the lead is created and the connect call is booked, I get that, connect call right there where I can ask all my questions. But now it's time for the explore call. So then I can go and I can click a button just like that, and it's going to create our explore call as a subtask as well. So there we go. I've got my explore call, and I can then go and ask my questions in the explore call. I'm reiterating some of the things we discussed in the connect call. If we got some of the goals, great. I want to confirm those. If we didn't get the budget, I want to talk more about the budget now that I understand a bit more about the workflows, because the way that we price is dependent on end-to-end workflow that we would be optimizing or improving typically. And so if you want something like that, you're requesting a quote. So I have to know a bit more in those stages. So explore call is done. And then I just have a couple other buttons for the proposal presentation where I'm meeting with you to walk you through the proposal, and then I make some notes that will create another subtask. And then typically after the proposal has been presented, we're confirmed, yeah, we like it, but we have some questions, or we're not ready to sign just yet. Can we talk a bit more? And then I create another subtask for what I call a pre-project sync, right? So I'm answering your questions, making sure that you're all good before you sign on that dotted line, and then we can move forward. So once the explore call is done, we're qualified. Now I need to prepare our proposal. So then I move it to prep proposal. And then again, another subtask is added right down here. And it's going to say create Facebook proposal in PandaDoc, which is the tool that we use to create proposals. I can send a digital link, you can sign there, and then that's integrated into our system as well. And then, someone on our team takes that explore call, uploads it to the drive. So you can see how we're moving through the pipeline here, right? We're at the prep proposal stage right now, moving through the pipeline, and all of these subtasks are getting checked off as we go. And it all ladders up to that main task. Once the proposal is prepared, I either send it with a Loom video or we meet again to, review it together. And so all of that stuff is happening depending on what your hopeful outcomes are. So then I would move this to proposal sent once I've sent the proposal or presented the proposal. Okay. And then I have a task, to follow up with that lead. So I don't have to do anything else after this. It's already moved. I've sent the proposal, they're sitting on it, and I have a task for myself for, 6 days from now where I need to follow up with that person. I can probably do it sooner, but I don't like to push anybody. When they're ready, and they'll come back when they are ready to make that decision. So that follow-up is there, and I just follow up until I don't need to anymore, until we've got that closed one. So I've heard back from them, they're ready to go. Now they have signed, and we have closed one here, and great. Let's see what happens here. So we've got another subtask here to set the closed reason. And actually I should have done that before. I got to figure out where the optimal time is to do that, because I generally know that if I win the business, like why I won it. And so let's just go back and do that. What I should have done first is, maybe they're an existing or former client. We built solid rapport. Maybe they came from, right? So they're followers, subscribers, social media, and they loved our, culture and mission. That side of it works. And then what that would do is it would pull in the variables to highlight and communicate to the rest of the team what the one reason was. Okay, so all of this stuff, like if you're using HubSpot or Salesforce, this would sound very familiar. I pulled all of this, all these activities, all these actions from my HubSpot workflow where I had a back and forth between HubSpot and Asana, and I just mimicked it here, right? So just the power of what you can do. And again, all the communications, everything that we have going on between us, it's all right here, right? So we have all of the contact information and all of the company information. And so let's keep on going, right? Then the deal is won. I set the one reason. I sent out the welcome email to say, hey, thanks, we got your signature. We're excited to get started. Here are the next steps. Let's book your kickoff call and all that stuff that comes next. So sent the welcome email. Someone on my team, they upload the docs, all the remaining docs, whether it's the proposal presentation, any information that was sent across, or the pre-project sync. All those docs and recordings get uploaded to Google Drive, and then it's up to me, the salesperson, to create the invoice. So then I go to Harvest, create the invoice. I can probably have my accountant do this now, but it's just easier for me just to quickly get it sent out when I do all this sales activity. So sent it out, we created it, and then it's over to our senior project manager to now create the Asana project plan. What I want to figure out how to do is, once we get to closed one and certain actions are met, that Asana project plan is created automatically from the template, because we have that project plan. But then what it will do is it will change this parent task to a project, and then it will essentially complete this version of it, which I don't want to do. So I'm still thinking through that. But if you have any suggestions, leave it in the comments, because I probably just haven't thought of it yet. And I forgot something, like along the way, I would have put in, how much the deal is for. So, 200, maybe 20K for this project, what the deposit amount is going to be. We want 50% up front. I have the deal probability that I can set here. And so how that works even is then my accountant or my CFO, who are also followers of this, can come in to the project and they see, okay, what is Marquis forecasting? The due date is the expected close date. And so if I get a new deal, I'm typically looking at 30 days or so for, we close it and we get a signature. Sometimes it's longer depending on how long legal needs to review things, how many signatures need to be on the document, all of that. And so they're looking at the close date. They're looking at my probability for closing. One thing that I didn't do here, I need to remember to do, is put in the project period. So Kaveh, my senior project manager, would have said, hey, this is the estimate. This is how long it's going to take. We need about 3 months. And then my CFO and accountant, they can come together and they can say, okay, great, we've got this amount of cash it's going to be distributed over this time frame, and so they forecast better as well. So now we're getting into financial management, not just sales. And so the whole engine really comes together. So once closed one has happened, it's not finished, right? So we have our kickoff call with the customer. They booked their time. We're ready to get into the project now. Then the last thing that I do here is I go to in project, okay? And it moves it down here. And then what it does is it changes the lifecycle stage from opportunity to a customer, and now they're an active customer. So this just kind of stays in here until we are done with the project. Once we get through the project, if they didn't, continue on with us and expand, if they didn't convert to our monthly support packages, then we offboard the customer, which is very rare. And we offboard the customer, and then we go project complete, and then you'll see we move from customer and active customer to customer, former customer. All right, so then they're on a whole other list. And so now we have these different views inside of Asana where we have, all of our cold leads. These are all the people that I need to follow up with. We have all of our closed won opportunities, people that haven't gone through and done their kickoff call yet. So we got quite a few to get through the next, few weeks. And we have active clients here. We've got former clients here. We have closed lost. So these are people that I can also follow up with and see just how they're doing down the road. And then I've set up a just dashboard here as well, which shows me the revenue forecast based on what I'm seeing. This is set based on my close dates for the next 30 days. You can see active deals, close lost at all times, and then we're tracking a lot of other metrics. So this is the thing that keeps me honest. Every Monday I come in, I'm updating the close dates, I'm updating the activity, I'm following up with leads throughout the week. And so it keeps everything in really good order so that I can continue, growing the company here. And so I promised that if you stuck around to the end, you would get a little bonus here. And so I had shown you the project estimates request form here. I'm not going to go through the full thing, but I'm going to kind of show you how something's made. Is the soup, how the soup is made, or I can't remember. Someone I used to know would say something to that effect of how the whatever is made, and I can't think of it right now. But in any case, we would have submitted our form. Actually, let's just do it. So company name, this is going to be Facebook. I'm still figuring out how to connect this form and this project to the actual deal pipeline, so I don't have to have another version of this. But as you saw in the deal pipeline, there are so many subtasks that I don't want to complicate things, and so I've kept it separate for now. So this would be, again, Loom links, Zoom recordings, like that. Any additional files, I could upload those here. We would pull in any additional files that they need to review, and then I have the due date. So I need this back by Tuesday, then I'm going to submit that. So it comes into here now, on its way. There we go. So Facebook, new business, and then this is for Kaveh to go through. So Kaveh, I need this by Tuesday, please and thanks. Here are the references for you. This is new business. And then what Kaveh will do now is come in here and start estimating. So this part of it is fairly new. We used to do this in Google Sheets. And I thought, why can't we just do this in Asana? That's how I always will think about these kind of things. Why can't we just do this in Asana? And so now we can. So because I said earlier that we price by workflow, I have workflow 1 here, and then we have the meetings for workflow 1 that are required. So maybe we need 3 meetings to identify, validate, and propose new options for the initial workflow. Maybe it's your customer onboarding workflow. And then workflow 2 could be your project delivery workflow, right? And then we have meetings 2, and then your other workflow is your intakes and requests. So your creative intakes and requests. So that's workflow number 3. And then we have meetings 3. Great. So you've got all these subtasks. Then once we open it up, this is where we can have some fun. All right, so we can see here that the service type for each of these, we're just going to select those, is going to be process optimization, because we're optimizing those workflows. And then these meetings are simply going to be meetings. So that's just a visual for me. In the future, I will have different dashboards just to visualize, the estimates. And then we're going through, and Kaveh is building out the estimates. So at 2 places, at the estimated hours here, Let's go and edit that field. We've just got like a basic formula where it's taking the volume, multiplying it by capacity, and then multiplying it by an additional multiplier here so we can get our estimated hours, because we have some contingencies and things like that that we need to consider. And then for our total hours, I believe it is, let's go in and see. Yeah, we have our estimated hours times a 20% contingency. This will change depending on the project. If the volume or the complexity of the workflows is not super complex, we'll reduce that to 15% to account for slippage and extra time and extra meetings, extra communication, extra validation. And so we're considering all of those things in these estimates here. So let's just go through it. The volume of this, so this is like one workflow here, one workflow here, one workflow here, but maybe we need 3 meetings for each workflow. So I'm putting in 3 of those, and then the complexity of those workflows. So complexity just means how involved are we? With each workflow, you have to consider how many people are involved, how many approvals are needed, what technology is involved, how many integrations are going to need to be, how many stages there are, how many cross-functional projects there are that are integrating as well. And so there's so much to consider here. So we have a complexity of 1 to 3. 3 being very complex, 2 being complex, and then 1 being simple workflow. So let's just assume workflow 1 is a complexity of 1. Meetings are always 1, okay? So we don't have to add an additional multiplier. Let's say workflow 2 is a complex workflow, but the meeting was still a 1. And then workflow 3 is very complex. So there we go. Okay, and so now to understand the meetings, because it's not just one person attending each of those 3 meetings, we typically have 2 to 3 people attending those meetings. We have a project manager, we have maybe 2 solutions engineers, or 1 solutions engineer and a business analyst if we're looking at data and we need any more information. So then we will just add an additional multiplier for the meetings here, right? And so this is giving us now 9 hours of meetings. Okay, so here we have estimated hours for this project, 37.5 hours. Move over here, total hours, including our contingency, which I didn't actually add in. Let's put in our 20%. And I don't need it in the parent one, I just need it here. Let's put in our 20%. There we go. So we're going from 37.5 hours with a 20% contingency. We've got 45 hours, okay? Then we move over here. And I'm going to say that the project, this is going to take about 3 months. So again, that's where I'm getting that information. I can put that in my deal pipeline so my CFO and accountant can see it. And then we see over here, the project budget is going to be about 13,000. So that's typically how we're going about these. And so that really brings everything full circle. Kaveh can then take this. I go back over to the deal pipeline and I can go down to, where was it? Are they in project? I already moved them to project complete, but then I can come over here and that's where I can, enter this right there, right? And so that's typically how it works. So I hope you enjoyed this. I know I went really quick through all this. I use this every single day, so it makes complete sense to me. But if you want to know more about how this works, if you're looking to move your CRM or deal pipeline from Salesforce or HubSpot into Asana, if you're interested in finding out how we customize the automation from the HubSpot meeting link to create the deal inside of Asana, book a call. There's the link right there. Go right there. It'll be in the description below as well. And I hope to hear from you soon. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.